everyone, and welcome to my morning report chance analysis videos on Wednesday 31st of January with me, Richard Perry, market analyst at Hantec Markets. This dollar rally that we had seen sort of beginning to come through has sort of been undone, really. It's not really taking off. It sort of showed signs in the last couple of days that it may well sort of start to have a recovery, but again yesterday afternoon the dollar got sold off and it remains under pressure today. You've seen sort of treasury yields which have started to just sort of settle a bit. I mean they're above there or thereabouts 2.7 on the 10-year. 2-year yield just slightly lower, but generally speaking, the markets are fairly sort of unimpressed with this dollar rally at the moment. The interesting move is coming through equities. Look at that VIX. The VIX index has spiked higher in the last few days as the S&P 500 has started to come off. Now, is this the start of a corrective move, or is it just a little near-term blip? These markets are sort of showing a bit of signs of strain. Certainly, European equities have found a degree of support today, but how sort of sustainable that support is remains to be seen, because rallies continue to be sold into on the DAX, for example, and FTSE 100 back below 7,600. That was a key breakout level of support. So the pressure is sort of mounting a little bit. Interesting that we've seen the oil price, which has also started to come off. In the last couple of days, you've seen the API inventories overnight showing an inventory build in the crude stocks. What will the EIA inventories show today? That could be interesting. That could start to drive a bit further of a sell-off if you see the inventories building on that side. Yeah, we are seeing this dollar just not really taking off. The market's a little bit mixed at the moment. I'll take you through the outlook in a bit on some of the Forex majors, but certainly there is a lack of real drive in this dollar recovery. In terms of today, we've got the Fed. The Fed monetary policy meeting this afternoon or this evening, 7 o'clock UK time, is not expecting any great shakes. It's not expecting a rate hike. March rate hike is the next one that's expected around about 75% priced in on Fed funds futures. You could see a bit of a tweak on the FOMC statement, although it is Janet Yellen's final meeting as Fed chair before Jerome Powell takes over. I can't see too much going on really in that Fed statement that's really going to change anything drastically. In front of that, you've got the Eurozone flash CPI. That's at 10 o'clock. Expected to show a mild drop in the headline to 1.3%. Mild improvement in the core to 1.0% though. Also watch out for the ADP employment today. Could be a bit of a harbinger for payrolls on Friday, 185,000. So there or thereabouts, as is probably to be expected around about this time of the cycle. And as I said, the EIA inventories, although the crude stocks are sort of at 1.2% of drawdown, 1.2 million barrels of drawdown. It'll be interesting to see if that does get an upside surprise to that. So my chart of the day is Sterling Aussie. That's the hourly. Let's look at the daily. And Sterling Aussie is interesting because it's used this pivot on several times in the last few months. November at 73.65 it became support, and then breaking down became resistance, and then breaking back above it, it's become supportive again. You saw the strong bull candle sort of pulling back away from that pivot. So the momentum is beginning to turn round again. Having had that corrective move on sterling, we're seeing the market starting to find a bit of support. So that pivot support at 73.65 is key near term. You've seen the momentum indicator starting to sort of tick a touch higher. And the hourly chart moving above another little near-term pivot around sort of the 74.50, 74.70 area of support. That's interesting, the fact that the market sort of found a support in that range overnight. It's just dropped back again today. Will in the last couple of hours, will that market start to find support again? The momentum indicators on the hourly chart are sort of fairly range bound really. So just dropping away now as the market has accelerated lower. But that initial support at 74.65 and the support of the pivot around sort of 74.50 will be interesting to see if that sort of builds as support. 73.45 is your key support near term, and a break below that you're starting to sort of look more negatively, and that would take you below the pivot. So interesting moves on sterling Aussie today. So I wish you good luck in your trading, and I'll speak to you later. Thank you.